So cool. Now you have cleared your CAT. The interviews are over. And then when did you get to know about the conversion from IIM?
This was.
Can you talk about the timeline? So November you give the CAT.
Yeah.
Then when is the interview and when do you get to know?
So I have to actually recall when exactly. I can talk about the semester part. So for example, I know I gave my entrance in semester 3 and then semester 5 is when, and semester 5 is the same semester that you basically start applying for placements. So you apply for placements, and that was the same time that your CAT interview process also starts. So that was semester 5 before I graduated. So before my semester 6 examinations, I already got IIM-A.
Okay. So when do these final exams happen? The semester 6 exams?
I think they change every year, so
Okay.
it's very difficult to talk about a time. Like 1 or 2 months due changes here and
No,
there.
I'm trying to understand for someone who's now going to give their CAT in the next coming November. So what would be the trajectory for them? So November may they give the CAT. Then when can they expect an interview call, and by when they get to know they're admitted to the
I think I can
college?
talk about months. So if
Months.
they give the exam, generally the results are out in 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And you would like as soon as the results are out, it won't be long before the first list is announced. So
Got it.
again, the lists are announced at different time periods, but the list 1 gets announced almost immediately.
Got it.
Then you have the interview calls for list 1 in almost, I think, 1 month, 1.5 months. And then the list 2 starts in 2 months. So that's
it.
the process.
Perfect. And then you, if you are converted, then you start your MBA in June or July, I assume.
Yeah.
Got it. Fair. So let's talk about your journey. Now you're at IIM Ahmedabad. You've started your MBA. So how were those 2 years? And if you were to summarize your entire 2-year experience, like what happened in those 2 years in the next 5 minutes for the audience, that'll be super helpful. This will just give them a gist of how does a life at IIM Ahmedabad look like.
I think it's a mini corporate life. Like it's said that MBA prepares you for the corporate world. And I can completely say that's every sentence, every word of that is true. It does prepare you for corporate job because it's very rigorous. Academically, it's very rigorous. You have to also manage a lot of extracurricular internships. So the way the entire process happens is that first year there are set electives. So you cannot choose any elective. There are set electives that happen. And accordingly, the entire first year examinations are also same for every person. Ranking in IIM Ahmedabad is again relative, similar like CAT. So basically, in every class, you won't get absolute ranks. You would get relative numbers, relative ranks, etc., which are based on, of course, absolute marks, but the ranking is done relatively. And it's all case based. So the difference between IIM-A, IIM-B is also like IIM-A is much more case based. Every class would have a bunch of cases that you have to come prepared with. So there are a lot of academic rigor that goes into preparing for the case. Then you have to come and actually, so there are marks of class participation. You come prepared with the case, either the professor will ask you or you have to like put your hands up and answer the question yourself.
Can you give some examples of what kind of cases are these?
Yeah, so for example, if they have to teach you in marketing the Porter framework, right? So there would be, towards the end of class, they'll just introduce you to the Porter framework, that these are the 4-5 key elements. And that's it. In the next class, in order to apply that Porter framework, there would be a case example. For example, a retail manufacturer is planning to enter a market. This is their current market share. This is their current offerings, etc. They are planning to enter market XX. Now, how will you decide whether they should enter or not? And then you would think about that, okay, within the Porter framework, this is the competition intensity, this is X element. Basis whatever is written in the case, you would almost prepare an answer and it would give you all the facts. For example, let's say it will tell you that there is an existing competitor in Spain market, which has a market share of 50% and it's very price competitive. There have been 2 other companies trying to replace it, but they haven't been able to. So then it just becomes like automatically clear to you. So it gives you the facts, you fit it in the framework, and you actually use the case to understand the framework in real life and build it accordingly.
Got it. Very interesting.
Yeah.
This also would ensure practical application and
Exactly,
all
which
of
is
that.
what majority of the MBA in IIM Ahmedabad is
Right.
based on, which is practical application.
Right. And what would be your most memorable experience at IIM Ahmedabad? A lot of them I can see on your smile. But if you were to tell one.
Yeah, I think getting the pre-placement offer from the company I interned at was the most memorable experience, because honestly MBA first year gets very stressful because you're preparing for an internship, and it sets the precedence for a lot of things. Firstly, if you are getting an internship in the company you always aspired for, that's a tick. Second, that company, now you have joined, you have interned at the company, they give you the pre-placement offer, another tick. Once you get a pre-placement offer, you don't have to fight for the final placement. Secondly, even if you want to fight for the final placement, you'll get a better company than what you're currently having the PPO from. So it's always like a plus plus. You'll never be degraded to another job. So the
Right.
pre-placement offer, internship, it's like a huge time in MBA student life.
So you accepted the PPO that you got.
Yeah. So the current company that I'm working with is actually the only corporate that I've worked with throughout my whole life.
Oh,
I
is
was
it?
a fresher, I interned there, I got the pre-placement offer, and then I continued to work in it since last 5 years.
Got it. At IIM Ahmedabad, like what are the average stipends which people can expect in their summer internships per month?
Average would be, I think 1 lakhs,
1 lakh per month. Got it. And this would be for a period of 2 months.
2 months.
Got it. And in like how many students are there in a batch of IIM Ahmedabad in total?
I think there would be like 300,
Got it.
350 students.
Got it. Fair. And what would be the average package which people get after they graduate from IIM Ahmedabad?
The average package is 25 to
Okay.
35, but
Got it.
it's average, and average is always impacted by extremes.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's impacted by the students who are top 1% and get like 70 lakhs, 60 lakhs package. So average is 25 to 35.
Got it. And what are your thoughts on the entire job market right now? Like a lot of people are contemplating whether to do an MBA or not, because even after doing an MBA, they are not able to get a job, or they are not able to get the dream package that they want. So what would be your advice to all the people who are planning to do an MBA just because they want to get a job after a point in time?
I think two very important things. Number one is selection of college. You need to know that the college has that network of companies coming for placements, or at least internship, like some opportunity for you to enter into the job market. So that's very important. And again, it's not just how many companies come for placement, but also what percentage of the students get placed. So both the metrics need to be evaluated. You can have the best companies coming for placement and they select like 20% of the batch and 80% of the batch remains unemployed. That's also very bad. So it's also about how many percentage of students are getting placed. So that's selection of college. And once you have selected the college, just analyze whether your CV is already at a stage wherein you can compete with a good candidate. And if it's not, then build on it. Case competitions if you're trying for consulting, finance competitions if you're trying for finance, some CFA level 1 if you're trying for finance, some certifications in like data scientists if you're trying for product management. So those certifications, those case competitions, similarly when you enter the college, are you, let's say, targeting to be the head of placement committee? What are you doing in order to become the head of placement committee? So building your CV becomes very important as well, so that you get a good job.
Right. No, I agree. I think I've seen a lot of people who are like getting into MBA just because they want to do a job ultimately. But I think even the 2-year experience that they get in terms of building their exposure, grooming their personality, plus knowing 400 people in the batch, the network that they build, I think these are also some primary reasons which people should consider like before doing an MBA.
Of course. Alumni network is so important. Like it's extremely important. For example, IIM Ahmedabad has this entire alumni organization. We still get mails on our IIM Ahmedabad website. We can reach out to someone who has studied in IIM Ahmedabad, maybe in like some 1900 batch, and try to connect with them on LinkedIn. So alumni network is also very important.
Right.
And the network of your batchmates is also very
Right.
important.
No, I agree completely. So after IIM Ahmedabad, then so at IIM Ahmedabad itself, in a span of 2 years, so there are like semester again, like exams and all happen, like the way it happens in your undergrad. And how are these exams? So is it similar to the undergrad exams, or is it more like again case study based, and it's more like where you have to give some practical examples and all?
Yeah, so there are 3 semesters per year. So over a period of 2 years, you have 6 semesters. After your 3 semesters in first year, you do the internship, and then you do the remaining 3 semesters. You can select your electives in second year, by the way. So that's good. There are
And what kind of electives are these? Like,
So for example, if you like more finance subject, you can select more finance. If you like more consulting subjects, then there are more consulting based subjects. If you like economics, you can take economics based subjects. There are also subjects on strategy, etc., which a lot of people take. So basically these are HR courses also you have. So if you are interested in some specific field, then you can choose a mix of electives. So it's not like you are interested in HR, so all your electives are going to be HR. Basically, I'm trying to say that you can select a mix of, let's say, 20% HR, 30% strategy, 50% other something else.
got it, fair. And then these exams are basically again like similar to your undergrad.
So the exams are slightly different. So in undergrad, at least it's like I would say 80% final examinations, 5% or so is your attendance, and then 15% or so would be the projects, etc., that you do, right? In IIM Ahmedabad, slightly similar, wherein 70% or so would be the examinations that you sit in. Then there is some class participation of 10% or 5% and attendance, and then 20% would be either projects which are very case based, etc. And these are, so the way IIM Ahmedabad, at least I don't know about Bangalore or Calcutta, but in IIM Ahmedabad every class is divided into groups of 7, and these are called your subject groups. And the way the projects are given is, it's individual also, but most of the time these are group projects. So I had my group of 7 students, and then we would get a project, we would divide it amongst ourselves, and then accordingly apply. So that's how it used to happen.
Right. I think it teaches you team building and all of that. So
Yeah.
you were right when you said it's like a mini corporate life
Yeah.
at IIM. I heard that MBA people party a lot. How often do you used to party?
I think that's extremely true from IIM Calcutta. Honestly, my experience,
They are not going to like
IIM
you for this.
Calcutta parties the most.
Okay.
Then IIM Bangalore. IIM Ahmedabad, the issue is that we are in a dry state. So partying is typically difficult. Plus Ahmedabad is also not a city that parties a lot.
Okay.
So there are some room parties or house parties, but I think we party average. We can do better. IIM Ahmedabad can do better.
What's your definition of average?
It's between Bangalore and Calcutta is my average.
Got it. And on a lighter note, did you find anyone at IIM Ahmedabad?
Like for a romantic interest?
Yeah, of course.
No, not really. Because of 2-3 reasons. I think number one was I was young, like younger compared to the average batch, because generally people, I think there are just 25% or 30, maximum 30% freshers. Rest are all older than you, and therefore most of them also already have their romantic interest going on in their life. And secondly, I just feel like dating in MBA can also be very CV based, for example, which is very weird, right? But like, okay, I recall conversations wherein people would just be like, okay, this guy is from a good background, also so and so intern, also like, okay, top 5 ranker, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, that's, how can you love a CV? Very weird. So people date CVs also, which I don't stand by at all.
My God, I'm listening to this for the first time that people did CVs at IIMs.
Yeah.
That's a funny one. If you learned something new from this video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel so that we can bring you the best content possible. Also, if you want to watch this entire episode, click on the link in the description box and you can go to Kushal Lodha YouTube channel and watch the entire podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching this and have an amazing day.